Good evening and welcome to the Red Devils Roundup. And tonight we're going to be talking about our nil-nil draw at Crystal Palace and looking ahead to FC Twente on Wednesday. Matt, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I as I told you right after the game, I was actually quite pleased with the game as a whole. I mean, you know, it was disappointing not to score, but I actually haven't had a chance to review it properly, so I've actually only just got them up. But I know from what I have seen of the stats. I mean, it's a massive improvement. We lost both games last year, and I would say we frankly looked god awful in both of the games from memory, particularly the second one, which was, correct me if I'm wrong, 4-0.
Yeah, 4-0. We
Yeah.
lost there.
And that was at Selhurst Park, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, off the back of that, I thought it was a clear style of play. I actually thought he picked the right team. I think I said to you the other day on one of the other games, I was really excited about Ericsson. I thought he was really good, and again, I thought him then getting the nod ahead of other people to come in was really good. I actually think he picked the right team, and until he changed it, I thought we had the right team, and I was a bit confused by the manager's choice of subs. Sorry. Um, I know there was a lot of people calling for Agate to start, which I made a little note of here. And actually, I thought the midfield wasn't as much a problem, particularly the defensive element of the midfield. Ironically, it was Bruno who I thought was quite wasteful with his chances. I got why um, I got why he wanted to make changes there, but I just thought he got it wrong. And Rashford, I thought was really ineffective. Actually, I don't, which is a pity after such a good game. So this is what I made a note of here. So Xerxes and Ahmed, I thought shouldn't have come off at all. And actually, I was looking at it and I thought Xerxes should have maybe like dropped in to be that number 10 at a later date, and maybe we should have then put Rashford at the front, because I thought he was really dangerous moving around the pitch at the front part of it, and I thought that would have been quite a good idea. And what was the other thing I put here? Um, oh yeah, so I put here, so once Ericsson was actually placed by Agate, I thought that made a huge change to the way we played, and I don't think it worked at all. That then lack of creativity we had. I think you go into bigger games. I could see why. Well, we know what we've got Agate, and I think we need him, but I don't think that was the game we needed him for. Um, but actually, then looking forward to the next match, I could see that need to maybe do that double pivot we discussed with Casemiro and Agate. I'd potentially be trying it out midweek. I think that'd be a good time to kind of trial it. I think Bruno actually starting as well would be a positive to try and see if he can become a little bit more clinical and composed on the ball, which I felt that he lacked. But you know, all in all, it was positive.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah, so for me, I was very frustrated at the end of the game, but it was
Hmm.
good frustration because it was a game that we should have won there. Like we were the
Yeah.
better team by a long way, and we just didn't put our chances away. Whereas a lot of the frustrations last week were that we were just so unbelievably poor last season even. So yeah, absolutely, it definitely feels like there's a style of football that he wants to play. I mean, obviously this season he's got the
Hmm.
benefit of having most of his players fit, and especially having the two centre backs fit and able to play his style of play. I thought, yeah, generally the first 60 minutes really good. It was interesting because I thought before the game, I thought Crystal Palace is going to be a tough game. There's going to be a lot of atmosphere, a lot of challenges flying in, and a lot of noise, and that we might need a Ugarte in that situation to win the ball back and get us playing. But actually, what Ten Hag's done there is he's probably picked our 11 best ball players, and he's gone to them and said, keep the ball. So we've passed it around, we've created a few chances, but we've sucked the life out of the Palace crowd there. And you think Saturday evening at Selhurst Park, it's going to be a lively atmosphere, but there was none of that. It was really quite subdued because we just nullified it from the start. And I think Ten Hag's got to be given a lot of plaudits for that selection and that game plan. It just didn't work because we couldn't stick the ball in the back of the net. As you say, the substitutions were slightly strange. It was, I mean, Xerxes came off on 60 minutes to be replaced by Rashford up front, and then it was Eriksen for Ugarte and Ahmad for Højlund.
Højlund, yeah.
On about 75 minutes, wasn't it? So
76, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at it, I think, yeah, Rashford for Xerxes was a slightly odd one because, yes, Rashford played up front in midweek, but it was against League One opposition, and centre-backs who weren't able to cope with his pace weren't marking particularly well and were wide open pretty much. I mean, you're never going to get that situation against a Palace back three that's got Guéhi in it, as well as I can't remember the other two guys, but they were fairly decent. So it was a bit of an odd one. What I want to be seeing there is Rashford coming on for Garnacho. Garnacho's not played 90 minutes for most of the season. He's been coming on for 30 minutes at a time as a sub, and you could definitely see him tiring in the sort of 60, 70-minute mark. I think his second half contribution was significantly less than his first half contribution. So why not bring Rashford on for him? And actually, I think Rashford and Xerxes is going to be a really interesting partnership there, because Rashford's someone who likes to play high, likes to run in behind. Xerxes someone who likes to drop deep and find those runs. So you think you got a match made in heaven there, kind of. And instead, you take Xerxes off for Rashford, and you got a lot of the problems that we had last season, where Garnacho and Ahmad couldn't find the centre forward. So yeah, that just seemed to strike me as a bit odd. I thought there could have been a really interesting opportunity there to get Rashford and Xerxes playing in that situation. I thought Xerxes had a fantastic game, and the difference when he came off says it all, really. He was dropping in. For someone who plays so high up the field, he doesn't lose the ball very often at all. I think a lot of the balls into him, he's winning them, getting there first, and then he's laying them off to other players. So yeah, really pleased with the way that worked out. Just, I mean, really, the shame is that Bruno's bang out of form. I know he got a couple of assists midweek against a tired Barnsley side who were 5-0 down, but this season he's struggled, and I think we saw him be. I thought he was okay in the first half, but it was quite wasteful in the second half. But his finishing just seems to have gone, and there seems to be a lack of confidence there, maybe, which he's sort of just trying too hard and hitting outside of the foot strikes when he doesn't need to, and stuff like that. I think he missed 2 or 3 fairly big chances on Saturday, and he's missed a few in the previous games as well. So yeah, we need to. Tired, you say?
Yeah, he looks tired, I think.
But I mean, that's not surprising. He played 70 games 2 years ago, 60 games last season. He's played almost every minute of every game this season after playing every minute for Portugal in the summer and not having a pre-season. I mean, it's not surprising that he's tired. And just because the guy is always fit doesn't mean that you have to play him in every game. I think that's something that we do need to learn. And if we want to be getting the best out of him, come the business end of the season, if we make the Europa League final or the FA Cup final, then we need him to be in a position where he's played 50 games in the season, not 70. And I think that's something that Ten Hag's going to need to manage. And the difficulty is that they've given him a big fat new contract this summer, and there's probably commitments in there in terms of how much game time he gets. And if he's not playing well, is he going to drop him? I mean, he's picked Rashford all the time he's not been playing well, and then rotates him out when he finds a little bit of form. So it's a bit of an odd one. But
No, I totally agree with you, but like for me, I think Ugarte coming on for Eriksen, we think about it that way, was probably the right move. It was a pity he was ineffective, but actually Eriksen was getting tired, I think. But then
I think Eriksen was getting tired, and Palace were getting into the game. Like after 60 minutes, it'd been 10, 15 minutes before he brings Ugarte on, and Palace had started to have chances. And I think Ugarte came on to close that off a little bit. I don't think they had too much going on in the last 10 or 15 minutes, but
no.
Yeah.
But, it was, I would have, I mean, Mount, I don't think I would have started him. I understand he is back, but I would have liked to see him, because I think actually he would be fantastic for all the reasons you just said. I would have just dropped Xerxes back. I would have probably I would have maybe tried Rashford up at the front like he did, and I think I get his thinking, but then obviously Garnacho should have been coming off, Rashford going out to the left, and then Højlund then to come on there, and I just think the timing of the subs was off as well. Now I have to admit as well is I was at a house party, or a housewarming party, I should say, rather than a house party. And there was a lot of people chatting around me. So I did miss little bits. But I remember going from watching it, and then I was just like, oh, what's happened to the game? Like the energy's changed. And I think I've actually, for a change, he always used to do subs really late. And now they felt too early, because the game just slowed down. I mean, maybe Eriksen was the right time, because he did look tired, and with what you're saying.
I think the first sub was too early. The other two, he needed to change the game at that point. I think the thing is, it didn't feel like a Højlund game where there'd be space to run into up front, and especially when he's just coming back from 2 months out injured. I don't think we needed to bring him on there unless Xerxes was particularly tired. But even then, we had Antony on the bench, so he could have been an option. Mount, I get why he did. Yeah, Mount, I get why he didn't bring him on. Again, he's just come back from a month out injured. So, yeah, maybe you don't bring him on there, but you could have easily moved Eriksen up into the 10 position and brought Ugarte on, or Casemiro on, or you could have tried Kobbie out in the 10 position. It didn't have to be
exactly.
Yeah, and I mean the other thing I don't get is when you've got some of the players starting to look tired towards the end, and you only use 3 subs. That seemed a bit odd.
So, I've got the timings here. So what I actually didn't notice is after half time, in the 46 minutes, they actually did a double sub. So I actually must have missed that.
They brought 2 on at half time, and that had a significant change to the game. They tightened up midfield. They brought Wharton off, and I think their striker, was it Mateta, off as well.
Mateta for Sarr, that's right, and Wharton for Lerma or Lerma.
I think they looked better in midfield. We weren't overwhelming them as easily after that change, but we still were dominant for the first 15 minutes of the second half.
And that I noticed, and so the Xerxes sub was at the 61-minute mark, and I actually saw that, and I was like, why is he going off? And I would say after that, for me, it was definitely after that there was just a lack of excitement up front. And then I think he brought in Ugarte at 76 minutes to shore the midfield up, because they were coming forward. and I think that's because we didn't have Xerxes. You know, Rashford turns and runs and loses the ball a lot, doesn't he? As Xerxes very good at holding it. You know,
Yeah.
like you said, he doesn't lose it. He's getting it out to people, and there was a lot more pressure on Crystal Palace to do something. But then the Amad Diallo for Højlund, I don't understand it at all. You know, I didn't realise until you said now actually how tired Garnacho was. But again, you know, I think there's different ways. Anthony had a good game the other day. Why would he not come from Diallo? But it's because he's already got rid of Xerxes for Rashford, and he's gone, oh, do you know what? Rashford's not doing very well. Let's put him on the left where he's best, and we'll put Garnacho out to the right. And I actually don't remember seeing Garnacho that much after that. He was quite effective. Let's agree, you know, he was very unlucky not to get something out of the game. Like, there's no question about it. And Amad as well, actually, didn't they? They both hit the crossbar. You know, but you know, I do feel like we're nitpicking. There were manager mistakes. I think we were very good. You know, I'm just looking at here. So the stats. So we had 67% possession. I actually thought it was closer to 70. We had 5 big chances to their 3. We had 15 shots on goal to their 9, giving us an XG of 1.7 to their 1. So, you know, I think that shows, and these are just totally different to. I should have got the stats set for last year. I should have actually looked them up, because I actually remember at the time they were god awful, and I felt embarrassed that we'd gone to Crystal Palace and been so done. But then on the flip side, I just kept telling myself, well, at least Man City lose them. At least Man City lose them. You know, that was the best I could say. But I think, you know, managers make mistakes and do that, but I'm making a note of it now. There's now 2 times I think the manager has gone to make changes in the game this season so far, and I think he's made the wrong choices. As you know, you look, and I can think of quite a few times last year that was the same. But you know, there has been many times he's made the right decisions, but you know, actually, how many times is he now making the right decisions over the wrong ones? And hopefully, this new structure we have in place is going, why did he do that? Because surely that must be Dan Ashworth's job.
Yeah, I'm sure Ashworth and Wilcox have got to be sitting down with him after each game and having a post-mortem and saying, what was the thinking with this change? What was the thinking with that change? And if you're getting consistent changes that aren't working, then you have to question that thinking and see how he responds to that. Because I mean the Brighton game and the Crystal Palace game, the changes have damaged the team rather than reinvigorating them. And I mean, would you say that any of the changes he's made have had a positive impact? I think in the Fulham game, you had Garnacho come on as a sub and Xerxes come on as a sub, and they combined for the winner. So
and he made positive subs against Barnsley. You know, the Liverpool game, I don't know if you can say they're positive or not, because the whole thing was negative. You know, but
I mean, the Liverpool game, you can look at the Collier sub. I mean, that's a big thing to hook Casemiro at half-time and bring a young kid like Collier on. And he gave him that opportunity, and it was sink or swim, and he swam.
And it was a
you
big
can question whether it's fair to put a 21-year-old on in that position, but I think I think he's probably about level on his subs for this season, or a little down on the negative side. But
so one thing I was actually thinking of, I don't know if I got this from somewhere else. So if someone else has said this somewhere else, then fair play to them. But actually, what are we? Points wise, we're probably quite middle of the road. You know, based on the way the teams are, we're, you know, obviously lower down than that.
7 points from 5 games, 11th in the league.
And so just below. And actually, I was thinking that, you know, we should have won the Brighton game, right? Or at least taken a point out of it, let's say. So there's an extra 1 to 3 points that we've missed out on. Let's just say 3 because it makes my argument as well. And I would say, to be honest with you, we should have won the Palace game. And if I'm correct, aren't we like 6 points off being top?
Yeah, we should be 5 points better off, really, and that puts us in third, I think.
Yeah, and then actually, that's a different conversation. It's early in the season, but I think this is why I remain quite positive about it all. And I was, I'd had a couple of beers when we obviously spoke on the phone.
Yeah.
So I was quite excited, but I was in there getting bullied by lots of people being like, "Oh, classic United," and I was like, actually, you're clearly not watching the game because it's brilliant. No. We should be winning this.
We've missed 17 big chances this season, and the next most is 12. So really? You think add those 5 goals onto our total in those games, then we've got a lot more points there. And people are criticising the strikers, saying, "Oh, Man United can't score goals. The strikers must be shit." Actually, Xerxes only missed a couple of those, and Højlund's not been fit. Now Højlund's getting back to fit, and he had the second best chance conversion in the league last season. Like, if you can get him back to fitness and playing regularly and consistently, I think Xerxes will score goals as well as creating them. I think there's a lot of goals in that team. I mean, it was a bit of an anomaly. Garnacho missing, I think, 3 decent chances at the weekend. And Bruno's missed a lot of good chances, and he needs to find his form again. If Bruno can find his form, that's easily doable. Garnacho, I think, can be more consistently clinical. And I think Højlund and Xerxes have got goals in them. So there could be a lot of goals in this team this season.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you anymore. And actually, that leads into my last point I really wanted to make about the game is, a lot of people being like, "Oh, have United really improved all this?" I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. If you look at the stats, it's like night and day. And people are then going on to say, "Oh, where was this United last season?" I mean, what's the biggest thing that's changed? It's pretty much the whole back line.
We brought 5 players in. We've got a lot more players fit. I mean, that's the difference, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You get De Ligt and Mazraoui in who want to play Ten Hag style of football.
Yeah.
You get Wan-Bissaka Wan-Bissaka out, who's not up to that style of football, and Varane out, who's injured a lot. And yeah, I think you've got the difference there.
No, I totally agree, and I think it's that whole new back line. I feel like Onana in that defensive element is the man I've really got my spotlight on, because actually I thought De Ligt really showed up Martinez in the Crystal Palace game, and I still thought Martinez was excellent. I think De Ligt is going to be a standout man for us at the back, and you think, God, Martinez. I mean, without him last season, we were god awful. So then that spotlight goes on Onana, and I think he improved. He looked good. I just don't know if we've got that confidence in him still. It's like I said to you the other week. It's just got that Barthez vibe about the whole thing. It's just not someone who's going to work in the Premier League.
But from what I'm seeing of him after that penalty save in the Southampton game, he seems to have got a lot more confidence. I see him coming further out from goal. I see him playing better passes, and his shot stopping looks better, like just from that added confidence. I mean, you got a guy who's made a few mistakes last season, playing in a style of play that doesn't suit him, with players like Maguire and Lindelof dropping off and allowing shots on goal, and no wonder his confidence took a bit of a beating. As you say, I still get that Barthez vibe from him, but hopefully we can see him flourish a little bit and develop a good relationship with De Ligt and Martinez. And
it's moving in that direction, isn't it? It is moving in that direction, but still concerned about it. Still concerned. I think Dalot then being on the left, I mean, he's doing an incredibly good job, but actually, and Luke Shaw could come back to then improve that side. But my understanding is now, because of this whole thing around Luke Shaw that they've got dead quiet about, isn't it surprising that was it yesterday or the day before or something that suddenly there's all these links to left backs. Is his career done at United? I mean, I hope not. But was it? What's his name? Is it Anthony Robinson? Yeah, Anthony Robinson.
Fulham. Yeah.
I mean, there's probably better deals to be done outside of the Premier League, because I think it'd be expensive, but I think he'd be my number one choice. I think he just looks so composed on the ball. I think he's got a high ceiling, like I think Luke Shaw had when we bought him, and improvement there. But it's going to be the midfield again, isn't it? Because actually the front line, I think, are scoring. And if they aren't delivering, I wouldn't be surprised to see them going. But actually, we're not far off. Like you said, there's a good squad. It's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's nice just seeing that there's competition for places there, I think. And getting Mount back fit, I think he gives us another option at 10 or 8. I think Eriksen putting his hand up as well is important, and getting Ugarte into that team as a 6. I'm still not entirely sure why he's not played that many minutes so far, but I'm sure he'll come in, and I think he's going to be the type of player that we really like. Really, really pleased with De Ligt. I think his progressive passing on Saturday actually looked better than Martinez, which is one of Martinez's big strengths. So that was good to see. I do think Martinez was very lucky as well with that tackle. It's one of those that
forgotten about that, actually.
The slightest misjudgment or mistiming on that, then it's a definite red, and potential broken ankle for the player. As it was, I thought he didn't actually go near the player, and he got the ball dead on. So it's probably not a straight sending off, but it's one of those where you just take your life into your hands, really, if you go into a tackle like that, and it doesn't look very good.
What do you think, out of interest? See, I don't buy this at all. So what do you think they've rated Martinez and De Ligt in terms of stats?
On where?
Sorry, as like a player rating for the match, sorry.
Who's rated it? Is it like the press or
no, it's just some stats
like
website, isn't it?
Okay. I mean, you'd probably say 6.5 Martinez, 7 for De Ligt.
Interesting. 6.8 for Martinez, 7.5 for De Ligt. Very close.
Okay, that's good. Because I think if you're looking at the British press, they're probably giving De Ligt a 6 or something. But I thought he had a really good game.
Weirdly, they put Fernandez as 8.3.
No way. Oh, dear.
Not sure about that. But actually, all the good stats are in the back line outside of that.
Yeah.
Eriksen 6.9, Mainu 6.8, Ahmed 6.4, Garnacho 6.4, Xerxes 6.9. I mean, I think I would have rated, and all the stats. Henderson 9.2. He actually had a hell of a game. I was looking at him thinking I would rather have him over Onana.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
I was thinking that as well, yeah. So I suppose looking forward, next game.
FC Twente at Old Trafford. I think it's one of those games, like up next we've got Porto away, and then we've got Fenerbahce away. They're going to be the 2 hardest games in the group, and this is probably the 3rd hardest. So it's actually going to be quite important for us to go strong, get a big win over Twente, and go strong in the Porto and Fenerbahce games, and then we can rest players the rest of that group stage. If we get 9 points from those 3 games, then we should qualify with ease.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be interesting to see what you think about it, but I think we've got to be winning it 2-0.
Yeah, I think we should be targeting 3 or 4. at home against, fourth in the Dutch league. Yeah, I think you've got to be putting a few goals past them.
Yeah, I agree. I think the clean sheet's really important because then is that how many we've
That
done
would be
three
four in
clean
a row
sheets,
in
yeah?
all. Yeah,
Four in a row. It
four
is
in a row
four.
in all competitions. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to
Uh,
work out if it was four. And actually I think that is that shows we've invested that the investment we put into that back line is a game changer because that's something you can build on. What did Fergie always do? He always built his team from the back as well. And I think when I play Football Manager or FIFA or whatever it may be, I always invest in the defence first and work my way forward because the goals then will come. And I actually think we've got loads of. I do think we have good attacking talent. It's just an underperforming attacking talent, and that's
it's
why too
also
I would
a lot
settle
of
with him.
young attacking talent that's going to take a little
Yeah,
bit of time.
yeah,
So, I mean, if we can sort out the defence and make it solid, then it gives those attacking players the time rather than relying on them to score 3 or 4 goals a game because we're conceding 2 or 3.
yeah. And I think I do believe the goals will come because I think we were unlucky against Palace. We could have easily, absolutely reversed that score that we got for at Selhurst Park last year. I totally believe that.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, we could have easily been 3-0 up in the first half, and then it's a
yeah,
different game in the second half.
yeah.
So it's, yeah,
And actually, the subs maybe would have made more sense. So,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, probably.
that's
It's
what it is. But um, no, I'm excited about it. I mean, I would expect him to rotate, saying that I think Fernandez, even though I do think needs to get rested, I think he's got to come in and try and iron out some of these issues he's having, and then maybe we rest him at a later date. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he did get rested though, because he does need a good rest. But maybe this is a good opportunity for Højlund to start. I think that would make more sense to me. Saying that Rashford starting up front or maybe not Xerxes, I'd probably would give him a rest. It's probably um, Rashford or Højlund. But I mean, saying that, I think
yeah,
Rashford's got to be starting on the left, getting a bit of confidence out there, and Anthony again on the right.
yeah.
That's
I
probably what I
I
see.
think Xerxes had a rest for the Barnsley game. Okay, he came on in the second half, but
Yeah.
I I want to see that partnership with him and Rashford up there. I think
Okay.
Rashford's obvious to start. And you can take Xerxes off after 60 minutes if you want anyway. I think Højlund, he's had 2 months out. He's not had pre-season. He's got a bit of an injury record because we've had to rely on him whenever he's been fit. Let's nurse him back, bring him
Mm.
on for half an hour again. I mean, match situation depending. So I'd like to see Xerxes, Rashford, and Anthony as the front three. Um,
Yeah.
I personally would like to rest Bruno because if
Okay.
you're looking at the next 3 games or the next 4 games, even you've got Spurs at home,
Yeah.
Porto away, Villa away. So you're not going to rest him for any of those 3 games.
No.
So
No. He's
I
got to
think
start those.
it's the obvious one to give him a break.
Yeah.
I think Eriksen can play in the 10 role and do that, and probably get Mount coming off the bench at some point. Again, he's
Mm.
one who's had a lot of injuries. I don't want to rush him back. Just bring him on for
No.
20 minutes at the end, match situation depending. And I think Casemiro and Ugarte can start there with Eriksen ahead of them. I think for me that would be the obvious
Oh,
setup.
it's got to be that double pivot of those two, though. I think that for me is one of the big musts of the game because I
Yeah,
think it's the perfect game to really bring Agate in. I think Casemiro can gain his confidence there, and the way they both play, I think, will really complement them. But
yeah,
um,
I
I
think
think
so.
the biggest interest for me is, and I'm interested to see what you say on this first. Where do you think he's going to go with the back line? Because I won't say any more.
Um, I think if you're going to change up the midfield, then I'd probably want to keep uh, De Ligt and Martinez in there. Keep on building up their partnership. I don't think that they're going to be too tired. Maybe Martinez does need a slight rest. I think De Ligt was nursed in at the start of the season, so I think he's probably got a bit of gas in him. He's okay to play. I'd like to see Dalot given a bit of a rest, maybe Mazraoui on the right and Evans on the left, or Amas. So I think if you've got Martinez and De Ligt in the centre, then you could try an Amas on the left. But it's yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he rotates the defence. And
I think he will. I think Maguire will get a start. I think 100% Maguire will be starting. Yeah. My big question mark is about who's going to play that left centre back position, because I think he's going to look at it and go, shit, I've got to play Martinez, which I think is a mistake with the 2 games coming up. Actually, I disagree, because I think Maguire is 100% going to get a start. Is he going to go in Evans next to Maguire? I mean, it's worrying, but he might do. But I don't see, unless he then goes Martinez, which I think he'll be thinking about, even though I think Martinez needs a rest. That's it. Now, I'd like Amas to come in, but I can't. I again, because of my question mark over the left centre back, I think if he's looking at Amas, he'll probably then go Martinez. I just think that's what I would think. But I think I wouldn't be surprised
if he was going to bring Amas in, then he would have done so in the Barnsley game. That was the obvious one to do.
Maybe, which means then he's playing Dalot and Mazraoui exactly how he's been playing it then, and Evans and Maguire probably will start.
Yeah. I mean that's the thing. Our back four from the weekend excites me. Our other options don't. So.
Yeah, it's true. But then actually, I thought Binder looks much better behind Maguire, which sounds wrong to say, but than Onana does.
Yeah. Would you play Binder for this game?
I think I would. I don't think he will, but I think I personally would. I don't think he's put a foot wrong yet.
He's only played 2 games for us, and he's looked good in both games.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think he's a decent goalie. If you're going to play De Ligt and Martinez, then maybe you play Onana to continue building that relationship. But I think if you're going to change it up, then you might as well give Binder an opportunity.
Yeah, and I think Binder's opportunities are going to start to get limited after this game. I'd give him another one, and if he performs well, I don't see why there aren't other games you could bring him in for. But it's the run of games afterwards, isn't it? We've had, I suppose, a good start in terms of games, and I think we're lucky. I mean, Fulham was obviously a hard one to open with, and Brighton, actually, with hindsight, we should have won the game. But I thought would have been a bigger challenge. Actually, like you said, Aston Villa, I'm more likely think we're going to lose that than Spurs, because I think Spurs are just one of those teams we can really get into. But I could see them as both being losses.
I did a little spreadsheet the other week actually on like our humiliating losses over the last 10 years. And in there was a 6-1 home defeat to Spurs, I think.
Oh, I do remember that, yeah.
Mm.
Do you know what I'm just going to do? Never tried this before. Oh, no, it's not that. There we go. What is that?
What you doing?
Stop talking. Oh, that was rubbish. I was interested to see. I was going to use Chat GBT to see if it could predict it, and it's actually just given me a load of nonsense. She's talking about how you work out whether they're going to win. See, even Chat GBT doesn't want to commit to it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think if we play like we did against Palace, then I think we've got a good chance of winning there because yeah, I think we controlled the ball, controlled the game, and created chances.
Yeah, but I think my biggest concern is the Villa game. I think just the way they play is going to be difficult. But on the flip side, if we go out and play well, we start well, get an early goal, it could be a different story. But let's keep those fingers crossed, eh?
Yeah, I think it's about momentum. You know, it stalled a little bit with the Palace game, although it's still a good performance. If we can go out and put some goals on 20 on Wednesday, get a win, however, against Spurs and get a result against Porto, then I think we go into that Villa game thinking it's very winnable. I think we've done well at Villa Park in the past. It's been a pretty good ground for us. Okay, Villa are a good team, but they're going to be coming off a couple of Champions League midweek games, which is not something that they've been used to over the last few years. So I think there's an opportunity there, definitely.
That's a good point, actually. Just for me, it was Villa at Villa Park because just having a quick look. So we've got 20 and Spurs at home, and then Porto, Villa away, Brentford at home, Fenerbahce away, West Ham away, Chelsea at home, and then obviously I'll leave it there. But it is interesting looking at the next run of fixtures. I think we've actually done very well on the road this season, saying that, but I think that would be my concern. Well, actually, we've always got a bit worse at home now. I think about it now. I'm struggling to get into that mindset. So maybe Spurs is the danger game. Guess we'll see. Hey.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. Exciting. Anyway, I think we've got potential to win a few games if we keep on improving how we're playing. Which, yeah. And the thing is, like, you go back to everyone saying, "Oh, Arteta when he first started with Arsenal, okay, was finishing 8th, but they were starting to play football, and you could see what they were trying to do." I think we're in a position now where last season you just got to write it off with all the injuries, all the uncertainty around the club, and everything. And you're looking at it, okay, we're sitting in 11th after 5 games, but we should have won a couple of those. And you look at the football that we're starting to play, and you're starting to see what he's trying to do, and you're starting to see a system that should more often than not win games. So, yeah, I'm not saying that we'll be challenging for the league this season, or even next season, or even the season after. But I think there's the start of a squad there that's going to start to be competitive. So I think that's kind of the key thing.
Just looking up, you talked about the groups we played, but do you just mean because they're actually doing it a league like the Champions League now?
Yeah, so there's 8 teams that we play, and
yeah, so I can see but it's the same. So it's the same as the Champions League. Effectively, 1st to 8th go into the finals, 9th to 24th go into the playoffs, and everyone 25th and below gets knocked out.
Yeah. So the thing is, if we win our first 3 games, they're probably our 3 toughest games, and 9 points from 3 games, then you're pretty much guaranteed to finish in the top 16. And then we've got the easier games that we should get wins in anyway, even with a weakened team. So I think it makes sense to go strong in these initial few games and then rotate later on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're literally 6 points off first, 6 points off bottom.
Yeah. And level on points with Spurs, although I think they've got 4 more than us on goal difference.
Yeah, we're literally dead zero on goal difference.
1-2
Which
drawn,
is sad to
drawn
say,
1,
but
lost
it's
2.
an improvement.
Yeah. So, fingers crossed for Wednesday anyway, and let's have a catch up after that.
Yeah, no, for sure. What day is the next game?
Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I know that one. I was thinking this weekend.
Oh, Spurs is on Sunday.
It's on Sunday. What time? We might be doing another Monday night chat then, because unfortunately I'm in Bulgaria. So I'll see you all after Bulgaria.
All right, enjoy.
Yeah, well, I'll see you midweek, won't I?
4:30 on Sunday.
Yeah, lovely. Well, great to see you all. Hopefully we'll get someone. Oh, I didn't get someone in for this, but it's because we didn't do it over the weekend. By the way, forgot to mention that. That was my fault not being here. But we'll get someone in soon. Oh, I'm away this weekend. We need to organise it. It might be harder to organise than we thought this, right?
Yeah, maybe a midweek or something. I've got a mate I can watch one of the Europa League games with potentially, and I'll get him on in the pub after the game. I think might be quite good.
Ooh. Yeah, do it. That sounds good. Well, good to see you, Harry.
All right, good to see you too.
Yeah, catch you soon, bud.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.